I'm 47 years old, born and baked in Ohio. I've worked at the same damn place since I was 27, Billy's Diner, a hole-in-the-wall greasy spoon nestled off Route 60. I was there before Yelp existed, before the owner's fourth wife left him, and before anyone gave a damn about vegan options. I gave that place everything short of my left kidney, and I only kept that because my right one's already hanging by a thread thanks to diner coffee and stress. I'd been there 20 years. Not calling in sick with hangovers, years, real years. On my feet through double shifts, Christmas mornings, power outages, and one unfortunate fistfight between two rival bingo clubs. I'd covered when people quit, trained every new cook since Bush Sr., and even once resuscitated a guy with a spoon and a bottle of Tabasco. Billy, the owner, used to joke I was the soul of the place. That should have been my first red flag. He treated souls like most people treat wet napkins, useful until sticky. So when I walked in one Monday morning, apron already tied, and saw a note taped to the kitchen door that said, "Beth, see me before clocking in," I had a sinking feeling. You know the one. Like when a man says, "We need to talk," and his eyes are already halfway out the door. Billy sat in his office, picking at something in his teeth like he was trying to delay the inevitable. "Beth, listen. This isn't personal." Every time someone says that, it's because it's exactly personal. "I'm making a few changes. My niece, Kelsey, she's in town. Just finished her marketing degree. Figured she'd bring some freshness." He used the word freshness like he was pitching a salad. I didn't say anything, just stared at him like he'd started speaking Russian. "So, what, I'm training her?" He cleared his throat. "No, I think it's best we let you go. Clean break. You know, retirement maybe?" "Retirement?" "I'm 47, not 87. I've got arthritis, not Alzheimer's. You're firing me to give my job to a girl who calls hash browns problematic because they aren't gluten-free." Kelsey had worked one Sunday brunch. Showed up an hour late, posted a TikTok of her flipping pancakes, and nearly set the griddle on fire trying to caramelize bacon. She spilled mimosa mix into the toaster. Literally smoked it. I walked out, shaking. I felt every year in my knees, but that day I felt every betrayal in my spine. I sat in my old Corolla in the gravel lot out back, hand on the wheel, watching as Kelsey giggled her way into my apron. The sign above the diner flickered like it knew what was coming. Billy thought I'd vanish like bad Yelp reviews. But he forgot one thing. I've got the memory of an elephant, the notebooks of a hoarder, and a grudge colder than a walk-in freezer. And I'd just been handed my first day off in 2 decades. Time to get busy. It took me exactly 48 hours to stop crying and start plotting. The first day I sulked. Full-on robe, wine, bad TV sulk. Ever cried into a microwaved burrito while watching Wheel of Fortune? I have. Day 2, I woke up with a hangover that tasted like old fryer grease, and the sudden clarity of someone who realizes they've been taken for a damn fool. It hit me while brushing my teeth. In the hallway closet, top shelf, under a broken box fan, my notebooks. See, I've always kept logs. Not for revenge. Just because when you're a lifer in the service industry, memory becomes your currency. You remember who tips in nickels, who always says keep the change and leaves 22 cents. Who lies about allergies. Who had that affair with the gym teacher and cried into their pancakes every Tuesday for a year. But more than that, I wrote everything down. Like a weirdo. Like a waitress accountant with a side hustle in paranoia. I cracked open the first notebook from 2007. A list of every shift I worked. Start and end times. Who I covered for. Notes like, double shift again. Billy said, "I'll make it up to you. 3rd time this month. Paid in cash today. No receipt. Suspect overtime erased. Kenny, cook, burned hand, told not to report. Used frozen peas and duct tape." That last one? Pretty sure OSHA would love that. I sat cross-legged in the living room, surrounded by journals, receipts, even sticky notes I'd shoved into my apron over the years. They told a story. One that started with Beth the Reliable and ended with Beth, who they thought would take it lying down. Spoiler, I don't lie down easy. The more I read, the more dots connected. Kelsey wasn't just fresh eyes for the diner, she was Billy's golden ticket to modernize and sell it. I found a crumpled napkin I remembered scrawling on last winter. Billy talking about flipping the place. Niece might run it someday. Says she's the franchise type. Franchise? The only thing Kelsey could run is a ring light. I took a photo of the napkin. Then another of the payroll stub from 2015 where Billy forgot to pay my holiday bonus. Then the one where he split tips with the dishwasher, even though she was salaried, illegal in Ohio unless she's tipped staff, which she wasn't. And then I remembered something else. Health inspections. Or rather, the miraculous way we always passed them despite the fact that the walk-in had black mold, the meat slicer hadn't been cleaned since Obama's first term, and the fryer had a smell that could legally be classified as a hate crime. Billy had a cousin on the city board. I never thought much of it until now. I opened a fresh notebook, labeled it Operation Griddle Justice. I started making calls that afternoon. Not to Billy. Not to Kelsey. To every ex-employee, short order cook, dishy, and disgruntled teen who ever walked out of that place with burns, bounced checks, or broken dreams. I started with Trina, who left after her wrist got cut on a rusted tomato slicer. Her first words? Beth? I've been waiting for this call. They weren't the only ones. Turns out, I wasn't the only one Billy thought he could toss aside, but I would be the last. Trina met me at the back booth of Millie's Pie Stop, our rival diner, and now apparently my headquarters. She was already on her second coffee when I arrived, sleeves rolled up, and fire in her eyes. You know the look, like someone who just found out the scratch ticket they threw out was actually a winner. I still got the pictures, she said, pulling out a thumb drive like she was passing me state secrets. And Lord, the things on that USB. Rusted out drains. Cockroach traps overflowing. A grease trap so full I swear it had layers, like a geological dig site. Oh, and a dated video of Billy screaming at a teen line cook while waving a spatula like a weapon. Not quite kitchen nightmares level, but enough to make the health department very, very curious. I almost sued, but I didn't have the energy, she said. Now I'm thinking, maybe it's time. By the end of that week, I had 5 former employees who agreed to talk. Some were still in town, some were willing to write affidavits. Kenny, the cook with the duct tape hand, mailed me a photo of his injury along with a quote. He told me to shut up or lose my job. And that's when I found it, the linchpin. Buried in one of my older notebooks was a log from 2012 where Billy had started splitting tips. It seemed small back then, but I remembered the dishwasher, Sharon, being livid. I don't get tips. Why is he giving me cash and calling it fair? She'd shouted in the kitchen once. Sharon was salaried. She wasn't supposed to touch tip money. Federal labor law makes that crystal clear. That's theft from the actual tipped workers. So I started compiling. I went full detective mode. Spreadsheet after spreadsheet, matching shifts, hours, names. Tip discrepancies. Undocumented overtime. Fake voluntary cleaning days. Even times he docked our checks for broken dishes, which is illegal in Ohio unless you prove malicious intent. I was building a case so tight it squeaked. But it wasn't just me. Trina connected me to Miles, the college kid who worked one summer and was stiffed out of his last check. And Lena, the single mom who got her hours cut after she got pregnant. It was like peeling wallpaper and finding mold behind every layer. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was surgical. I sent anonymous emails to the Ohio Department of Health with timestamps and photo evidence. I dropped a folder of documents outside the Department of Labor's regional office. No name, just a sticky note. Start with page 12. The walk-in fridge is a biohazard. And then I remembered Billy's taxes. Billy always kept his receipts in a beat-up shoebox under the register. I'd seen them. He'd bragged once that his nephew Reed, some guy from poker night, Helped him write things off, like Kelsey's Monty Pettis, as client entertainment. There's tax fraud, and then there's stupid tax fraud. And suddenly I knew, this wasn't just going to be a slap on the wrist. I wasn't just going to get back at them. I was going to shut everything down. It was no longer personal. It was business. And revenge? Well, it was starting to feel like justice in a hairnet. If you ever want to see a grown man sweat like he's deep-frying himself from the inside out, you should meet Billy when he realizes someone's smarter than him. And by someone, I mean me, with a binder full of documented sins and a newfound friend in employment law. His name was Evan Stahl. Lawyer, 34, sharp suit, sharper smile, and eyes like he's constantly thinking about 10 court cases at once. Trina's cousin had used him for a wrongful termination case 2 years back, walked out with a settlement, and a parting gift of a new car. I slid the binder across his desk. Evan flipped it open, scanned 3 pages, and muttered, "Holy hell." "It gets worse," I said, sipping the free office coffee. Tasted like cardboard and potential. 30 minutes later, he leaned back, impressed and mildly horrified. "Beth, you've basically done half my job already. This isn't just a wrongful termination case. It's wage theft, labor law violations, OSHA stuff. Jesus, even a tax audit waiting to happen." He looked up. "You planning to sue?" I shook my head. "Not yet. I want to blow it up first. Now, here's the thing about revenge. It's better with a paper trail and plausible deniability." Evan helped me package everything legally, suggested we keep the worst of it for leverage later. "Lead with labor violations," he said. "Health code and tax stuff come second. Let the system corner him from all sides." And then, fate gave me a bonus. The rat. Millie, owner of Millie's Pie Stop, texted me a photo one rainy Wednesday. There it was, on her back alley camera, a rat slipping through a crack in the foundation of Billy's diner, dragging what looked like a hot dog bun behind it like it owed the rat money. "Thought you'd enjoy this," she wrote. "Also, your old place reeks of sour grease this week." That was it. I filed an anonymous health complaint with the video attached. Possible rodent activity, mold in refrigeration unit, grease traps not emptied in violation of Ohio Food Code Section 3717. Evan helped me set up a burner email and phone line for the inspectors to contact. No ties to me. No fingerprints. Just a voice message, "Concerned citizen. Please check walk-in freezer. Might want hazmat suits." Then came the Yelp review. Oh, baby. I made an account with a name I won't say here, but let's just call it Truth in a Bottle 92. It started tame. Long-time customer, really saddened by what's happening lately. Then the slow drop of poison. Saw a rat last week. Weird smell coming from kitchen. New waitress too busy filming herself to refill coffee. 2 days later, it had 1,300 likes and 45 angry comments. People began uploading their own photos, burnt food, dirty mugs, a used Band-Aid someone allegedly found under a booth cushion. Billy tried to respond. Claimed it was a smear campaign by a disgruntled ex-employee. He should have picked better words. Because the Department of Health read that comment, too. And they were coming. Billy just didn't know it yet. But I did. And I had a front row seat reserved, with extra butter for the popcorn. You ever seen a man pretend he's in control while the walls start sweating? That was Billy the week the inspectors came knocking. It started on a Tuesday morning. Health Department. 2 agents in windbreakers and clipboards strutted in like a SWAT team in non-slip shoes. They didn't even pause for pie. Just asked to speak with the manager, then vanished into the kitchen like judgment incarnate. From across the street at Millie's, sipping a glorious coffee, I watched it all unfold through binoculars I bought off Amazon. The irony of using their Wi-Fi to buy tools for their downfall? Delicious. Kelsey, sweet, clueless Kelsey, posted a story that afternoon. So random health inspection today, LOL, but we're good. Haters stay pressed. Beverage box nail polish, she said, pressed. Out loud. On camera. In the middle of a grease trap being emptied. The thing is, they weren't good. They were 2 meat thermometers away from a kitchen shutdown. Billy's cousin on the city board had retired last year. New guy? Didn't give a damn about poker buddies. He cared about public health, and he wasn't a fan of moldy ham or unrefrigerated mayo. But the health part was just the warm-up act. The labor inspector came next. Evan, my lawyer, had filed formal complaints with the Ohio Department of Commerce. Back pay, overtime denial, illegal tip pooling, all beautifully cross-referenced with my spreadsheets and backup affidavits. We even found a few paycheck stubs that had been reissued but showed different amounts. Payroll fraud, wage theft, record tampering. Billy had always bragged he ran a tight ship. Turns out, his ship was held together with duct tape and denial. Now, I thought this was the worst of it, until I found the LLC. I was looking up old business licenses for fun, because that's the kind of joyless, vengeful woman I'd become, and stumbled on something weird. Billy's Diner LLC had a manager listed that wasn't Billy. It was his son, David. David, who hadn't stepped foot in the diner since 2013. David, who lived in Florida and posted crypto memes on LinkedIn like a 35-year-old motivational bot. Turns out, Billy transferred ownership to David a few years back for tax reasons. Problem? David also claimed the diner was non-operational in documents tied to a separate shell company, probably to dodge income reporting. Classic move, if you're a moron who thinks LLC paperwork doesn't get checked. I sent it to Evan. His exact words, "Holy hell, this is a full-blown audit waiting to happen. Want me to poke the IRS?" Yes, I said. Poke hard. We filed a whistleblower report. Completely anonymous. Evan knew the process inside and out, how to trigger an audit without waving flags. It might take months, but when the IRS hits, it's like a freight train made of paperwork and misery. Meanwhile, Yelp reviews continued to snowball. Former regulars bailed. Delivery orders dried up. The waitress who replaced me quit mid-shift after a customer threw a pickle at her for forgetting mustard. And Kelsey? Her influencer gig took a hit when her aesthetic brunch content was interrupted by a photo of her standing next to a garbage bin labeled biohazard. The post hit Twitter. The comments were brutal. And I hadn't even served the main course yet. A funny thing happens when a place starts dying, you can hear it. Not in screams or alarms. In quiet. Fewer forks clinking. No regulars calling for the usual. No truckers hooting over the jukebox. Just silence. And in Billy's Diner, silence was always a bad sign. But I wasn't done. Billy had dodged consequences for 2 decades by slathering everything in shucks charm and 1 pie slices. So I figured it was time to take the one thing he still had going for him, his reputation. And nothing kills reputation like sticky lies and real syrup. I called in a favor from a friend named Lou. He was a delivery guy back in the day, used to bring us produce before Billy cut ties and started sourcing from a cheaper guy, Reed, his cousin with a questionable freezer in a garage. Lou still delivered around town, and he was a gossip goldmine. Billy's still using corn syrup in the maple bottles? Lou asked, laughing so hard he wheezed. That's illegal in Vermont, you know. Not here, but man, people get mad about that. And thus, the plan was born. I started small. A local foodie Facebook group. Posed as a concerned mom. Hey, is it true Billy's Diner isn't using real maple syrup, even though the menu says 100% pure? Tossed in a blurry photo of the label, maple-style flavored pancake topping. Billy had been buying the knockoff stuff for years and charging for the real deal. The comment section? Exploded. Are you kidding me? I knew it tasted like melted candy corn. This is why we can't have nice things. By the next week, Billy had slapped temporarily closed for deep cleaning signs on the front door. Deep cleaning my ass. That kitchen hadn't seen bleach since the Clinton administration. Meanwhile, Kelsey was trying to launch a new brunch series on TikTok. She filmed herself plating pancakes with store-brand strawberries and captioned it #farm-to-fork. Except someone, me, had already uploaded screenshots of her calling the food inedible trash on her private Instagram. Even better? I'd forwarded her little video to the health inspector. She filmed it inside the diner during the inspection closure, breaking about 5 different rules, including the one where you're not supposed to enter a food service location that's under investigation. Now, I wasn't above some classic sabotage either. Let's just say some flyers went up around town. Looking for a real breakfast? Try Millie's Pie Stop. Health grade A, actual maple syrup. And no roaches. At the bottom, Beth recommends the blueberry cobbler. Kelsey took to Twitter, ranting that there was a toxic former employee targeting her small business journey, which was rich coming from a girl who once told me that diners were like poverty-themed cosplay. Every day I'd walk past the diner. Still closed. Windows dirty. Lights off. Billy started showing up later and later, his signature strut replaced with a shuffling limp and a sour look like someone farted in his dreams. He had no idea how much worse it was going to get, because the Department of Labor wasn't done. And neither was I. When the Labor Department shows up, they don't wear badges or bang on doors. They just walk in with clipboards and polite destruction. That's what made it so perfect. It was Thursday mid-morning. I was at Millie's again, booth by the window, black coffee in one hand, cherry Danish in the other, when I saw them. 2 women, 1 man. Business casual, stone-faced, and moving with that special kind of calm that screams you are already screwed. They didn't knock. Didn't hesitate. Just walked right past Billy's closed for deep cleaning sign like it was made of tissue paper and lies. I knew the process. Evan had laid it all out. Wage audits, interview requests, document demands. They'd ask for timesheets, payroll records, tax forms, even the security footage. If they were in the mood, they'd call in workers on the spot for interviews. I texted Trina. They're inside. It's happening. Her reply, about ***ing time. Billy must have been there, because 10 minutes later, he stormed out the front door red-faced, wild-eyed, shirt half untucked like he'd just lost a bar fight with paperwork. Kelsey followed, phone in hand, trying to film a TikTok in real time. "This is government overreach," she screeched. "We are being targeted. This is harassment." "No, sweetheart. This is Tuesday in the real world." Billy tried to light a cigarette, but couldn't get the lighter going. He threw it at the sidewalk. Kelsey started crying, which would have been sad if it wasn't so performative. She filmed herself sobbing next to a box of syrup jugs, captioned it, "Sometimes they don't want you to succeed, broken heart." No one bought it. Within 2 days, local news caught wind. The station that runs puff pieces on pumpkin festivals ran a segment titled, "Popular Diner Under Investigation for Wage Theft, Health Violations." They blurred Kelsey's face, but not Billy's. That man looked like he was melting into his own neck. The news anchor wrapped the story by saying, "Customers are advised to avoid the location until the investigations are complete." Translation: dead business walking. I got a voicemail from Evan that night. "Hey Beth, labor's digging deep. They found falsified payroll entries from 2016 to 2022. It's gonna be bad. Call me tomorrow." I poured a glass of red wine and played the message 3 times, savoring it like jazz. The same way Billy used to savor calling me in on my day off. Only this time, I was the one in control. The fallout didn't stop there. Kelsey lost her sponsorship deals. Apparently, wellness brands don't like influencers whose family businesses are under federal scrutiny. She posted a now-deleted video where she sobbed over a lavender candle and said she was being canceled for vibes. Billy tried to reopen a week later. Half the staff had quit, and the ones who stayed looked like survivors of a failed space mission. Only 5 customers showed up. One of them left a Yelp review that simply said, "Smells like despair and wet carpet." Things were crumbling. But I wasn't done watching. I was building something. And it was almost ready. The great thing about setting fire to a collapsing house? You don't even need to hold the match. You just need to crack open a window and let the wind do the work. 3 days after the labor inspection, a little gem popped up in the county clerk's public records. Billy's Diner, LLC v. David Connors. That's Billy's own son, the crypto bro in Florida who managed the business from 1,200 miles away while thinking NFTs were a retirement plan. Apparently, David didn't appreciate being dragged into a federal audit and slapped with back tax liability on a business he barely remembered owning. Word on the street was, he called Billy at 2 a.m. screaming about IRS seizures and fraudulent K-1 forms. I don't speak accountant, but I do speak panic, and that call ended with David filing for emergency dissolution of the LLC. Translation: Daddy and Sonny Boy were suing each other. It was like watching two raccoons fight over a dumpster that was already on fire. Meanwhile, Kelsey, bless her influencer heart, had her own meltdown brewing. Her wellness brunch brand tanked. The last post on her TikTok was a sweaty, eyeliner-streaked video where she sobbed into a protein pancake while whispering, "I gave up everything for that place." Someone in the comments said, "You gave up nothing but other people's jobs." Over 3,000 likes. That week, the diner was open exactly one day before Billy shut it down again. Rumor was they were out of ingredients. No deliveries, no credit. Turns out, word travels fast in the vendor world. Nobody wanted to be the last one left with unpaid invoices. At Millie's, we were thriving. I wasn't even technically working there yet, but I'd become a regular fixture. Millie gave me a back room to store files and told customers I was our revenge consultant. Every day, more old regulars came through her doors, looking for a clean seat and a server who wouldn't record them mid-bite. But the moment that really sealed it, the moment I knew the game was won, was when I saw Billy and Kelsey having it out in the alley behind the diner. I was walking to my car. They didn't see me, but I saw everything. Kelsey was shouting, "You said this was going to be mine. I gave up LA for this." Billy, face blotchy and shaking, snapped back, "You gave up nothing. You played waitress for a week and tanked my damn legacy." She threw her phone. Not figuratively, literally. Smashed it against the wall. Then she screamed that he owed her everything. It hit me then. I used to be like that. The desperation to be seen, to be valued, to make someone who never respected you finally get it. I watched them scream, accuse, collapse. It should have felt like revenge. But honestly, it felt like closure. I turned away, got in my car, and drove to a meeting with a local business investor. I had a binder in my passenger seat labeled Beth's Place, Breakfast, Books, and Justice. Because I wasn't just ending a chapter. I was starting a brand new one. The smell of fresh paint and cinnamon rolls is a religious experience. I don't care what denomination you are, those scents together, that's spiritual. Opening day was bright, crisp, and 2 degrees warmer than expected. Like the universe itself had RSVP'd. A line had already started forming when I arrived at 6:30 a.m., coffee in one hand, clipboard in the other. Some faces I recognized, regulars from the old place, now refugees in search of a clean table and dignity with their hash browns. Others were new, curious neighbors, foodies, a local blogger I may or may not have tipped off anonymously. The sign above the door read, Beth's Place in looping gold script. Underneath, hand-painted by Millie's niece, Breakfast, Books, and Justice. Because I believe in truth in advertising. The cafe was everything Billy's Diner had pretended to be. Polished wood counters. Reclaimed booths from an old schoolhouse. A real espresso machine that didn't sound like it was choking on bees. Oh, and actual maple syrup. None of that flavored high-fructose trash. Millie stood behind the counter like a proud aunt, apron crisp, hair tied up in a polka-dot scarf. "You ready for this?" she asked, passing me a clean rag like a baton. "Born ready," I said, and meant it. We opened the doors at 7:01. By 7:15, every seat was filled. People laughed. Read books from the mini library nook. Left compliments on the menu cards. The blueberry muffins sold out before 9 a.m. A kid told me the French toast tasted like if cartoons were real, which might be the best compliment I've ever gotten. But the real moment came around noon. That's when Billy walked in. No announcement. No drama. Just shuffled through the door in a windbreaker 2 sizes too big, hat pulled low like he thought the brim could shield him from what he'd become. I saw him before he saw me. He looked around, registered the full tables, the clean walls, the smiling faces. I saw the moment it hit him that this was mine. Not his. Not Kelsey's. Mine. He stepped up to the counter. Millie raised an eyebrow. Table for one? Billy looked at me. Just a flicker. No apology. No congratulations. Just a quiet, gritted nod. I poured him a coffee. No poison. No salt in the sugar bowl. Just clean, hot, fresh brewed coffee. He took it, paid in cash, and sat alone in the corner. And I let him. Because revenge isn't just about destruction. Sometimes it's about eclipsing. About proving you can build something so whole, so damn honest, that their lie shrinks in comparison. Billy had fired me to make room for his legacy. Instead, I made room for my own. And honey, I hope he enjoyed every sip. The smell of fresh paint and cinnamon rolls is a religious experience. I don't care what denomination you are, those scents together? That's spiritual. Opening day was bright, crisp, and 2 degrees warmer than expected. Like the universe itself had RSVP'd. A line had already started forming when I arrived at 6:30 a.m., coffee in one hand, clipboard in the other. Some faces I recognized, regulars from the old place, now refugees in search of a clean table and dignity with their hash browns. Others were new, curious neighbors, foodies, a local blogger I may or may not have tipped off anonymously. The sign above the door read, Beth's Place in looping gold script. Underneath, hand-painted by Millie's niece, breakfast, books, and justice. Because I believe in truth in advertising. The cafe was everything Billy's diner had pretended to be. Polished wood counters. Reclaimed booths from an old schoolhouse. A real espresso machine that didn't sound like it was choking on bees. Oh, and actual maple syrup. None of that flavored high-fructose trash. Millie stood behind the counter like a proud aunt, apron crisp, hair tied up in a polka-dot scarf. You ready for this? She asked, passing me a clean rag like a baton. Born ready, I said, and meant it. We opened the doors at 7:01. By 7:15, every seat was filled. People laughed. Read books from the mini library nook. Left compliments on the menu cards. The blueberry muffins sold out before 9 a.m. A kid told me the French toast tasted like if cartoons were real, which might be the best compliment I've ever gotten. But the real moment came around noon. That's when Billy walked in. No announcement. No drama. Just shuffled through the door in a windbreaker 2 sizes too big, hat pulled low like he thought the brim could shield him from what he'd become. I saw him before he saw me. He looked around, registered the full tables, the clean walls, the smiling faces. I saw the moment it hit him that this was mine. Not his. Not Kelsey's. Mine. He stepped up to the counter. Millie raised an eyebrow. Table for one? Billy looked at me. Just a flicker. No apology. No congratulations. Just a quiet, gritted nod. I poured him a coffee. No poison. No salt in the sugar bowl. Just clean, hot, fresh brewed coffee. He took it, paid in cash, and sat alone in the corner. And I let him. Because revenge isn't just about destruction. Sometimes it's about eclipsing. About proving you can build something so whole, so damn honest, that their lie shrinks in comparison. Billy had fired me to make room for his legacy. Instead, I made room for my own. And honey, I hope he enjoyed every sip.